Folks, during the Northern Song dynasty, there was an official named John Guire. When he served as the county magistrate of Chongyang County, he caught a junior clerk who stole money and taught him a great truth behind the saying Shui Di Shi Chu and dripping water wears through stone. One morning, the junior clerk was organizing silver in the treasury. Taking advantage of the supervisor's inattention, he secretly scraped a little silver dust from a silver ingot and hid it in his sleeve. He thought this was a trivial matter that no one would notice. However, he never expected that John Guire caught him red-handed just as he walked out of the treasury. John Guire stopped the clerk and asked, "What is hidden in your sleeve?" The clerk's face turned pale instantly, and he stammered, unable to speak. When the Yamen runner searched him, they found the silver dust on the spot. With conclusive evidence, the clerk had no way to deny it. In the main hall, John Guire rapped the gavel to hear the case. But the clerk was still unrepentant. He kowtowed and said, "It's just a little silver dust, it's not a big deal. I won't do it again." He thought stealing such a small amount of money wasn't even a mistake and had a rather indifferent attitude. John Guire said, "Small mistakes that aren't corrected turn into big ones." But the clerk retorted, "How can such a tiny bit of silver dust become a big mistake?" Instead of arguing with him, John Guire took him to the corner of the corridor, pointed at the indentation on the stone step, and asked, "Look at this stone step, why is there an indentation here?" The clerk stared at it for a long time and shook his head, saying, "Your Excellency, I don't know." John Guire pointed at the dripping water from the eaves and said, "Look, water drips on the same spot every day. Over time, even the hardest stone is worn through. This is dripping water wears through stone Shui Di Shi Chuan." The clerk stared at the dripping water and the indentation. His eyes growing wider and wider, he seemed to understand a little. John Guire continued, "A single drop of water is light, it leaves no mark when it hits the stone. But if it drips day after day, month after month, year after year, it can wear through the stone. The silver dust you stole is small, but if you steal day after day, month after month, won't that turn into major corruption?" Upon hearing this, the clerk trembled all over and finally realized where he had gone wrong. Back in the main hall, the clerk kowtowed repeatedly to admit his mistake and begged John Guire for another chance. John Guire said, "It's good that you recognize your mistake. I won't punish you severely today, but you must remember the truth of dripping water wears through stone." The clerk was deeply grateful, with tears in his eyes, and swore never to make the same mistake again. The magistrate's assistant praised John Guire, saying, "It's truly wise of you to educate the clerk with the principle of dripping water wears through stone." John Guire replied, "Convincing people with reason is more effective than punishment alone." Indeed, only when people understand where they went wrong can they truly correct their mistakes. That is the educational significance of dripping water wears through stone. In the street that evening, the common people were all talking about this incident. Magistrate John educated the clerk with dripping water wears through stone. What he said makes perfect sense. Everyone agreed that the saying small mistakes that aren't corrected turn into big ones was absolutely right. The next day, the teacher at the county government school taught the students about dripping water wears through stone. The teacher said, "A single drop of water wears through stone by perseverance. Correcting small mistakes and studying both require perseverance." The schoolchildren repeated it in unison. Even children understood that perseverance leads to great achievements and that small mistakes should not be ignored. The reformed clerk became much more conscientious in his work at the treasury. He kept clear records of every sum of silver and even took the initiative to ask the supervisor to check them. The supervisor said, "You no longer cut corners or play tricks now." It seemed that the truth of dripping water wears through stone had truly made him correct his mistakes completely. Shop owners also used the principle of dripping water wears through stone to educate their assistants. Once, an assistant took an extra coin and wanted to keep it for himself. The owner said, "If you take extra money every day, customers will no longer trust us." The assistant quickly returned the money and apologized. Gradually, the principle of dripping water wears through stone became a guideline for everyone's work. Later, a greenstone stele engraved with Shui Di Shi Chu and dripping water wears through stone was erected in front of the county government office, reminding everyone, uncorrected small mistakes accumulate into big ones. Persistent effort leads to great achievements.